Sophia Yerkshvich standing beside Brian Bellows. Thanks for talking to us. We don't get a lot of visitors here, but we wanted to pick your brain and ask you a couple questions. Starting with the draft class this year, a highly touted draft class, lots of pressure on the likes of Connor McDavid and Eichel. You could relate to that pressure. Could you give some advice, or what would you say about this draft class, or what advice would you give to them?
You know, I think for this crew, these guys are so seasoned. We had it easy in my day because there wasn't the media, there wasn't the press. You could have a couple bad games and the world wasn't falling apart. I think with Eichel and McDavid going through what they've been through, I think they're ready. They're more than ready. In fact, it's going to be relief just to get out there and play. And by the looks of the way both of them are playing, they're charged up, they're pumped up, and their teams are lucky. They have two great core players that are going to be there 15 years.
This might be a bit of a sacrilege question, but being drafted by the Minnesota North Stars, and then living in Minnesota, becoming the Dallas Stars, did you ever switch over and become a Dallas Stars fan, or once the Wild came back, that's where you stayed?
You know, I've always kind of been partial to Montreal, to tell you the truth. I mean, I played with the Stars, and I was obviously a fan then, and I'm still a fan of the Wild, but I would say it's 51-49 right now. You know, it's tough. You want a couple of core group of guys. You grew up being a fan of Montreal, and you kind of stay there. That said, I do a lot with the Wild, and you know, to go to a Wild game and go to a Montreal game, you're in two great hockey hotbeds, so it's pretty nice. Now, the only thing I can complete is get the Leafs back up there and do well.
Exactly, to compete, right, and get that rivalry going again.
I think they're on their way. I mean, one thing I know about Shanahan and the crew he's put together is that team it's going to be on the uprise, and it's going to be great for Toronto. You know, during most of my career, you know, I remember, you know, the Gilmore, the Clark, the Andreychuk years. Those are great years in Toronto, and you want to see that back.
Now, you were in Minnesota during their playoff run. What did you think of the run? What was the city like? What was the atmosphere like?
You know, Minnesota's like, it's hard to explain. Even when their team's going okay, they're getting 17,000, 18,000. They're getting, you know, 19,000, jamming it in. It's excited. People get on board, you know. But what I love is that even in the middle of February when it's 15 below, you're still seeing 18,000 people there.
All right, switching back to Montreal. They've just named Max Pacioretty as captain. The players got to vote. They did that. That's a huge deal for Max. Saying that appointed by his teammates was a big thing. What are your thoughts on him being captain of the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, you know, first of all, I think he's earned it. I mean, you look at the player every year, he's always working. He manages to produce on a team that lately, in the last couple of years, had trouble scoring a lot of goals. I think it shows that, you know, his intent is there, his heart is there. I think he'll be a good leader. And it's, you know, he's also, you know, if I believe, an American-born captain. And I think that says that Montreal, you know, put the faith in all their players, the trust that they'd pick who they think is the real team leader. And I think that's great coaching, great management, and I think Max will do a great job there.
Awesome. Now, before we let you go, we're going to put you on the spot and ask you for any bold predictions you have for the 2015-2016 NHL season.
Real bold predictions. I don't know if it's bold, but I do think that Florida comes back, makes the playoffs. I'm not going to say who's going to miss there. And, you know, I think Toronto is going to have a surprisingly very good year, too, which won't be surprising to me. I think they've made some great changes, but I think to the core legion of fans, I think it's going to be a good surprise for them.
Awesome. A lot of people in Florida and in Toronto are happy you said that. So thank you very much for your time. Sophia Yerkshvich again with Brian Bellows.